What it is, guys, it's your Dino. We're back again with another review, and this one is for Final Fantasy 16, and we're going to kick it straight off with the accessibility. They did an amazing job with this game, keep it as accessible as possible. Whilst they didn't have all of the tools built into the options, they tried to do it through certain items that you have in the game, making it easier for you to play the game, and I think that's great. Trying to find a way to accommodate everyone is great, and that's great. That's a really useful tool for them to have, and do it in a very unique way. Now, when we get to customization, this is where I have some gripes and stuff like that. I feel like whilst there is a certain design aesthetic that they've gone for, it's great and everything, but the only thing that you can actually change in the game in the way of customization is your specific abilities and your sword appearance, by upgrading your sword and using different swords in the game. And that's great, don't get me wrong. I would like to have seen a level of deeper cosmetics in the form of being able to customize Torgal. Now, Torgal is your pet companion that you get in the game, and he has this special like gold bracelet on his arm that was given to him by a character in the game. Not going to say too much, don't want to give you spoilers. Now, if you could customize that, it would be really cool. So you could say customize, so instead of it being the gold one, it could be a white gold one or a black one with spikes on it, and each one would do a different thing for Torgal. So for example, you could get a spiky one that gives him a higher defense or a higher attack. That would be a really nice way of adding another level of customization that I feel is missed out on this game. I would also have liked to have seen the ability of changing certain things on your character. Would be cool. For example, if you changed your defense items, you could change, it would change his aesthetic, so he would get a larger, more heavier armored shoulders or stuff like that. That's just something that I would have liked to have seen, but it doesn't change how good the game is. Then we get into gameplay. Now, this is the one that is quite divisive. I would say that a lot of people don't like the game because of the fact that it steers away from what Final Fantasy truly is, which is a RPG, and a lot of people are unhappy about that, and they want you to have that level of RPG-ness, whereas this is taken into the realm of action RPG, because they've brought in the battle choreographer from the DMC series, and they've made it more of an actiony game, and I have no complaints about that. Evolution with a franchise is great. So that being said, I feel that this game's player recommendations would be great for anyone who is a fan of the Devil May Cry franchise, the DMC franchise, any action button hack and slash kind of games. I feel like those would be great for them, and I feel like this is a great entry for people who have never played the traditional JRPG turn-based stuff from Final Fantasy. I feel like this is like Final Fantasy 7 Remake and like Final Fantasy 15 is a different spin on what makes a Final Fantasy a Final Fantasy, and I feel that that is a way of opening it up to a larger demographic of gamers. So I think that this is one for anyone to give a try. There is the demo that you can give a go of, and you can give it a bash and have some fun with it, and you can experience a good cross section of different styles of gameplay within the game. And I feel like that is a great way of helping people gauge whether this is a game that they want to drop 70 bones on, because it's quite an expensive game now that everything is running at that higher price range where every game starts at £70 or $70, whatever you want to call it. But that's just a recommendation. And now these are my final thoughts, my opinions. Now again, this is always one that everyone can take with a pinch of salt and or a grain of, or a dump truck of sand if you want. If you don't like my opinion, please sound off in the comments. We're always allowed to have a diverse and articulate conversation here on the channel. I encourage it, and I would love to know what you guys think if it's completely different to my opinion. Now, I feel that whilst this isn't a traditional Final Fantasy game like Final Fantasy 7 from 97 or any of the other ones out there, this is akin to where they need to be in the demographic and the way that the industry is changing and evolving. Because if they don't change and evolve with the times, it could end up like Call of Duty, becoming stagnant and just reskinning the same stuff over and over and over again. But that being said, they are going to have kickback from the more dedicated fan base who aren't going to be happy with the fact that things are changing. And I understand that and I respect that opinion. It's one of those where you can't please everyone. But my biggest thought on this one is what Square Enix needs to stop doing is making games exclusive to one platform. For example, Final Fantasy 15, which was a very bad developed game, was in development hell for a long time, had an amazing sales because it was on every platform. On day one, it did 15 million copies because it was on every platform. Square Enix may have gotten a big fat check from Sony to make this exclusive for 6 months for them, but it's hurting them long term than it is short term. And I feel like that is a slippery slope for Square Enix to be in. I feel that Square Enix need to, in my opinion, as a dedicated fan and a lover of the franchise and someone who's completely console agnostic, I don't care where you play it. You want to play it on PlayStation? Play it on PlayStation. You want to play it on an Xbox? Play it on an Xbox. You want to play it on a Switch? Play it on a Switch if it'll run on the Switch. You know? I don't care. I just want all the gamers that are interested in this game to be able to play this game. Because when you lock yourself onto one specific platform, you're isolating that game from the maximum potential players that it could have. Now, games like this are usually flashes in the pan. They're not going to have repeat custom coming back to them. People are going to complete them once or twice and then put them back in their catalog and probably only play them when they're feeling nostalgic or when they want something that is going to be a palate cleanser from the swath of games that they've been playing over the last 8, 6, 7 titles or whatever. It's going to be a game that will only get pulled out on a rare occasion, and I feel like that being the flash in a pan is not good business for Square Enix to be in. And they are locking themselves to a 6-month contract, which is what this game has, for console exclusivity on PlayStation. The rest of the market is waiting 6 months and seeing it get review bombed and getting it trashed in reviews by people on one specific platform who are an echo chamber of each other, who have no intelligent thought, in my opinion, where they're sitting there and slamming the game, saying that it's a bad game. I sat there and played it all on stream. There'll be a link in the description for the archive where you can go and watch my full playthrough, where I've spent almost 100 hours playing this game and I've enjoyed every single moment of it, to the point where I got one of my mods playing the game and falling in love with it, loving the hell out of it. That shows that regardless of whether you're a new fan or an old fan, change is always going to be something that you need to embrace and be willing to accept and give a go. It's a good game. It's not a great game. It's a good game. It's a fresh take on the Final Fantasy model. And I feel like that is where a lot of people are having their problems. I don't think that this is going to be the #1 bestseller of Final Fantasy games, but it's definitely on my list for Game of the Year, in my personal opinion. I feel like this is one of the best games that we've had so far. Not the best, one of the best. It's definitely a contender in my book. If you disagree, let me know. Sound off in the comments. Tell me what games that you think are sat there on your contender list for Game of the Year, because I'd love to know. And if you agree with me, sound off in the comments as well, because I'd love to know why you agree with me. But when it comes to games like this, it's always something that is going to be very polarizing in different aspects. Some people aren't going to like it, some people are. I will say the only big thing that I did not like about this game is, where was Biggs and Wedge? Because Biggs and Wedge has always been an overarching character name throughout the franchise, and even in 15 and everything else, they've always tried to tie in Biggs and Wedge in some way. Just like Sid is an overarching character name, it's always been there. They always have a Sid. We've always had a Biggs and Wedge. So where was Biggs and Wedge in this one? I am curious to know. Whether they were just some side characters that I missed. I never saw their names. I never saw them actually get called out saying, hey, interact with Biggs and Wedge in this universe. There was none of that. And there's always been that in all the previous ones. That's my only gripe. Overall, I think this is an amazing game. A great fresh take on the franchise, and an amazing look at what they could do with a different engine or a different style that could add a breath of vitality to a franchise that has been going since the 80s. It's coming on 50 years now, so that's great. As always, guys, like, comment and share. Thanks for watching. Hit the subscribe button, share it out with a friend. If you agree or disagree, sound off in the comments. And as always, guys, thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Check out the videos for more stuff. Bye, guys.